I think that in the current market, there are just not enough wives to go around. There are not enough wives to go, women that deserve to be wives, in my opinion. Okay,
Sure.
You'd agree on that, right?
Well, I don't.
Like so.
I don't know exactly what you mean by that. Maybe I would agree, but I don't know exactly what you mean by it.
Okay. Do you think men should have standards?
Yes.
Do you think it's okay for them to want a woman that's in shape? Do you think that's an okay standard?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, a girl that's religious. Would you say that's good? Okay,
necessary.
But that's not the majority. That's not the majority. So what are men supposed to do in the meantime?
They're supposed to convince the women to get in shape and get religious.
Good luck. I've done it for a year. Good luck.
You haven't had, but maybe the men would be more persuasive than you would to these women.
Good luck.
I don't know.
Did the OnlyFans models quit that you interviewed?
I don't know if that, I've only interviewed a few on whatever.
No, some of them might. Shows. That's the point.
There's actually,
miracles happen, but I wouldn't bet on it.
There are a couple gals who've written into my show, not from the Whatever podcast, but who were watching my show and, really watching in the member block and everything, who were both like online pornographers to some degree. And one said she was going to quit. I kind of lost track of her in the show. Another one quit, had a major conversion. And, what a wonderful evidence of the glory of God.
Was it the one on Twitter?
Yes.
Yeah, her OF link was still up. So a lot of times...
She denied it. Someone said that was true.
Her OF link was still up. Yes, it was. I checked it. Yes, it was. I'm positive.
She posted it and showed that it wasn't still up.
It was
I don't know.
Still up. But
I don't know. She seemed pretty sincere to me. But in any case, are you denying the principle that people can change?
Yeah, I mean, God can forgive you, but men don't have to.
I'm not talking about repentance. I'm talking about repentance.
Repentance is good, but I wouldn't say that makes her wife worthy if you still used to have an OF account. You would agree that men in general should not date women that had OnlyFans accounts.
It's not ideal. But
okay,
I don't think it's disqualifying.
You can't definitively say that a woman. Okay.
I don't think it's disqualifying.
I think you're going to have a tough time selling guys on that.
I'm not convinced of it. I mean, to quote St. John Vianney, the saints didn't all start well, but they all ended well. So I wouldn't recommend that people get involved in porn in any way.
Okay.
But there's also, on the men's side of things, men are in a little rough shape because of our modern culture too. A lot are addicted to porn. A lot have hooked up with a lot of people. A lot of kind of indulged perversions and things like that. Doesn't make them particularly marriageable either.
But why is it whenever we say something about the women, we have to say but men?
Well, because it's an observable fact, and marriage involves men and women.
I know, but all I'm saying, Michael, all I'm saying is don't date. Like, it's just crazy sometimes. I get so curious because I say men shouldn't date women that used to have OnlyFans. Like that shouldn't even be an argument.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, again, it's not ideal to have.
You wouldn't date a woman with an OnlyFans.
Well, I wouldn't date any woman now because I'm happily married.
No, but if you were single, right? You wouldn't do that.
It would be an obstacle. It would be an obstacle.
It would be such a big obstacle.
It would be an obstacle.
Do it. But that's the problem. I interview guys that are dating a girl for 6 months. They find out she used to have an OnlyFans account. These are real things that happen.
Sure. Yeah. It's not ideal. Though, frankly, to your point, I've been out of dating for a long time. But these days, can one find a girlfriend? I mean, I assume it can happen. But in modern kind of liberal secular dating, can one find a girlfriend who's never texted a naked picture of herself? I don't know. Women do this all the time now, and then it becomes a big scandal when they get.
Yeah. And so do those women deserve to be wives?
I don't know that we deserve much of anything. But that's my point. Ought we to do it? That's
my point. Is the women of today are not the women of yesterday, and it's becoming more and more difficult to find the women that you're talking about, and there are not enough to go around.
But you're framing.
That's my point.
Sure, but you're framing this as a question of who deserves to be married. But my framing of it is what one ought to do. That marriage is a natural end of our nature.
I don't deal in oughts. I deal with what is. Not what I want the world to be.
But the is of our nature implies an ought in our actions.
But it's not about what we want it to be, Michael. It's about what the world is.
No, I'm just saying how people ought to behave. And they ought to get married, is what I'm saying.
Okay, well,
which is implied by our nature, which is the is.
Okay.
Right? Because at the very least, you would say people want to have kids, right?
I mean, if women wanted to have kids so bad, why are they killing them like crazy?
There's a lot of abortion. It's dreadful. But I'm just saying people in general, you would admit, want to have kids.
Sometimes they do and they don't. I mean, women aren't having kids like they used to. I talk to women all the time that say they don't want to have kids.
People, they say it's unfortunate. People say a lot of those things.
And that's where it's going.
But I guess,
but half of women are going to be single and childless by 2030.
What about
that's
these
the way
men?
the world's going.
The men you're talking about, the men want to have kids, right? Or no, they're also degenerates. Everyone's just a degenerate now.
Men want marriage relationships and families. Men want that in general.
Okay.
But there are obstacles now that make it increasingly difficult for men to do that. One is that. Yeah, it's really common.
So you would sacrifice having children?
One is that the women are increasingly lower quality. They've gained weight. The body count numbers are up.
Buy them a Stairmaster. I don't know, get them a job.
Oh, good luck. I tried to pay a girl to lose weight. I swear to God I did. Because she came on my show. No, I swear. Yeah. I swear. And I said, because she was really fat and I told her to. And I was like, I'll pay for your training. And I said, I'll give you a cash prize. I said, I'll give you $3,000 if you lose weight. That's a ton of money.
Yeah.
She couldn't do it. She couldn't stick to it for a month. Yeah.
Do I get the offer?
Well, you look like you're in shape.
Stop it. Come on.
But that's my point. One obstacle is that the women are lower quality. Okay. The benefits are not the same. Most women are not raised to be traditional wives and mothers. And the cost is getting higher. So, it's becoming, divorces are getting more expensive. Weddings are getting more expensive. So when you combine those,
they don't need to be, but they are often.
I agree, but it's not about what I want the world to be.
No, I'm just saying
I'm Catholic too, and I think there's awesome things about the Catholic Church. But
that's a big but.
But
it's never good to say I'm a part of this religion. But
it doesn't mean everyone's following it. It doesn't mean that's the norm. And I'm talking about what the world is. Not what I want it to be.
No, but it's not just what you want it to be. I'm saying, if I'm a young man and I'm acknowledging a lot of the things you're saying, that's tough dating out there. Mm-hmm. But look, I want to have kids. I want to have a family. Mm-hmm. I know you say you don't want to give men advice.
I say every man, you have to decide for yourself.
But let's say the man came to you and said, Pearl, I know what you, but I don't care what you want. I demand.
These hypothetical situations.
Well, we're just discussing a concept in the abstract. I think you're kind of sneaking around giving advice. Because I think you're saying, look, through my reason, I've arrived at this conclusion about what's rational and advisable, but I'm not giving advice. So let's get through all that. Let's say the man comes to you, says, Pearl, give me the advice. Should I get married?
Are we reporters or preachers?
I'm just a writer and a talker.
But that's my point. Is you're okay. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Your options are going to be completely different than another guy's options.
Why? Because I'm devilishly handsome.
Yeah. Devilishly handsome, Where that's not the case for every man has to decide for himself. Do you think men should be extremely cautious when getting married?
I think they ought to be extremely prudent when getting married. Not cautious. I think courage is a virtue and the prerequisite for all the other virtues. So I don't think men should be little wallflowers backing away from a challenge, but they ought to be prudent. They ought to use their judgment properly. And so there are ways to mitigate risks within marriage. But furthermore, they ought to get married because that is the way to achieve the very thing you're suggesting they ought to, which is their purpose.
What if no women want to get married?
Well, they do want to get married.
No, they don't.
I mean...
Because when women have the most choice, we don't choose marriage. Women have the most choice when it comes to commitment around the age of 22. They're not choosing to get married. I don't pay attention to what people say.
No, you mean when they have the most options, when they're the most marriageable. But they do. But you will acknowledge those women who have been duped by feminism. Maybe even after they're past their prime marriageable age.
No, I don't blame it on feminism. I look at it different. I know women that have been raised in this culture that chose to get married at 22, waited till me, I know women that did the whole, exactly what you're describing. So it was based on the choice. Every woman has choice. Every woman has agency.
And they got married.
Yes, but there's also women that chose to go on OnlyFans.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm saying.
I'm just saying. I think those women tend to regret it.
But I'm saying, I don't like blaming your decisions on society because at the end of the day, you are responsible for the decisions that you make.
Right, but your education is responsible for forming the way that you think about things,
No, but there's people in the same education and they make different decisions.
When I mean education in the broad sense, meaning how people are raised, which gets to the point of marriage. Like,
but I know there's people that that are raised in bad environments and choose not to do that. Everyone has everyone's got free will, Michael.
Sure, but we're also shaped by our social context and our educations.
Right, but aren't you you're responsible for the choices you make, right?
I'm a moral agent, certainly.
I am? Okay.
But I'm more morally free to act the more that I can discipline my lower passions and bring them into accord with my rational will, which is why I'm discussing marriage as a matter of reason. So I guess the question you'd have to ask is, even before we can say whether or not you want to give advice to men, but should they or shouldn't they, what is marriage for? Like, what's the point of it? So what's the point of marriage?
I think that the point of marriage is, it's to create a union. It's supposed to be you are submitting to your husband's authority and you're creating a family.
And creating a family.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's forming a union with certain roles and, a structure, and to create a family.
And do you think that's how it's being used today for the average person? For the average person.
Yeah, it forms a union. It creates a family.
The average marriage is 7 years.
Yeah, but it's a union.
But
I think there's more to marriage than you described, but I think that those are some basics.
The average marriage is 7 years.
Right, but that still forms a union and often creates a family. That's what you're talking about, the struggles.
Right, but it's supposed to be for life.
Not
for now.
I agree.
And that's what I say. It's not about what ought to be. It's about what is today. And right now, a man cannot have children in this country and not be signed up for the state contract. So
but that's always been true.
I think, but my point is, why can't we change the laws first?
Because we live in time and space, and you'll die alone without having had kids and without having the joys of a family.
Why? You guys are one of the most influential media networks.
We are. And we're very persuasive, very powerful.
You guys are.
And yet we're not changing the divorce laws. Try as we might. It hasn't happened.
No, but you guys barely cover it.
I talk about it all the time. What are you talking about? I talk about marriage on my show probably every single day.
Right, but when we talk about specifics, I was talking about the tender years doctrine.
Yeah.
It's like even in California.
Sure,
if a woman lies about paternity of the child and it's not found out before the age of 2, that man's on child support for life, even though that woman committed fraud. And these are real things that happen in this country.
The man is on if the father doesn't discover that he's not really the father.
Yeah.
Because he's acting basically as like a duped adoptive father or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again.
Because the way the laws are is it goes in best interest of to the child, which generally means the best interest of the mother.
Right. But you do not need to convince me that the divorce laws are dreadful.
Right.
What you do need to convince me of is that men ought not to be married until the laws are changed.